After every other chapter in Paper Mario, Junior Troopa will come up and fight you, and I don't really like him, he's annoying. So here's how to skip all of his fights. For this, I'll be allowing skipping him by any means, though methods that skip the least amount of the game are preferred. So skipping the entire chapter is valid, but if there's something that skips only part of the chapter, that's what I'll be doing instead. Throughout the game, there's 6 Junior Troopa fights in total. The first fight is midway through Prologue, then you fight him after Chapter 1, 3, 5, and then you fight him midway through Chapter 7 and Chapter 8. Starting with the Prologue fight, skipping is pretty easy thanks to a trick that breaks Paper Mario an insane amount of loading zone storage. With LZS, you can trigger loading zones wherever you want, instead of where you're supposed to. And to understand why this is so useful, let's go through this room step by step. Right as you come in here and walk to the left a little, Goomba will say something. You go over to the bush with the hammer and get it, the Junior Troopa fight happens, and then you leave. The trigger for fighting Junior Troopa only exists once you get the hammer, so with LZS we can trigger Goompa's dialogue, LZS over to the hammer bush, and then get the hammer. When we do this, the game will say, okay, you got the hammer, oh, we're leaving the room now. And just like that, you never touch the Junior Troopa trigger, completely skipping him. Just make sure to interact with the bush from the front, as it takes longer to get the hammer if you do it from the back, and that difference in time will make it not work at all if you're LCSing into it. For Chapter 1, unfortunately, I couldn't find a not cheesy or not boring way to skip him. If you get Bombay, then do Log Skip, you can skip most of Koopa Bros Fortress, and while yes, this does skip Junior Troopa, that's kind of boring. An idea I had was to skip to Chapter 2, unlock the pipes to Koopa Village, then re-trigger Prologue back into Chapter 1, so that way when you finish Chapter 1, the blue pipe will let you skip past Junior Troopa, but if you do that, yeah. I tried maybe skipping into Chapter 5, getting the Ultra Hammer so I can unlock the blue pipe, and then doing a story trigger in Chapter 1 to go back to a Chapter 1 state, but as far as I can tell, there aren't any story triggers you can do after the fact. I tried LZSing into the cutscene and that didn't work. I tried LZSing onto the scene of the level and that didn't work either. As far as I can tell, there isn't any way to skip the Chapter 1 fight without skipping a decent amount of Chapter 1, which yeah, still works. It's just a little lame, you know? Chapter 3 though, this is when it gets fun. Some people have theorized that, hey, since you fight Junior Troopa after Chapter 3, just get the Super Boots, unlock the blue pipe, and then leave through said pipe once you finish the chapter. But the devs thought about this, and the fight with Junior Troopa is actually activated by unlocking Super Boots, not by the chapter being complete. So what can we do? We'll just go down the blue pipe. Oh yeah, while you weren't looking, I did some time travel. Before you do anything, do not complete Chapter 2. You can get Parakarry, but do not finish Chapter 2. You need the Super Hammer to still be in this chest. It'll make sense later. Now, after completing or skipping Chapter 1, go to Toad Town and casually do Blue House Skip, a double frame perfect pixel perfect trick, it's not that big of a deal. Then go and fight the blooper that's guarding the pipe to Chapter 5, and now you can enter Chapter 5. And you might be saying that that's boring, that we're skipping 2 whole chapters, but I'm not done yet. Go outside of Mount Lava Lava to trigger the Yoshi hide and seek game, and then go get Sushi. Now that you have Sushi, swim across the water and the sewers to unlock the blue pipe to Bow's Mansion. Right now, this blue pipe won't help us that much because we're in Chapter 5, so head back to Chapter 2 and go through the partially completed Dry Dry Ruins, and make sure to collect the Super Hammer. This will put your save file back to Chapter 2, and you can finally play through Chapter 2, then through Chapter 3, and when you defeat Tubba Blubba, just go down the blue pipe and skip the Junior Troopa fight. This will allow you to play through all of Chapter 3, 4, and 5 later on, while still skipping Junior Troopa. For Chapter 5, it's really easy. Just go down the blue pipe. If you did Chapter 3 as a skip as mentioned previously, the blue pipe should already be unlocked. Just go down it. If you want to skip only Chapter 5s, all you have to do is Blue House Skip before you get Sushi and the pipe will be unlocked. Similar to Chapter 3, Junior Troopa isn't actually activated by you finishing the chapter, but instead when you get Sushi. Now for Chapter 7. This is the first time since the prologue that the fight has happened in the middle of the chapter and not at the end. And at first sight, there's really nothing you can do. As soon as you leave Shiver City for the first time, the trigger for fighting him will be active. If you know anything about Paper Mario glitches, you might already be thinking of a way to get past it. Sushi Glitch. Just go back to the previous room, activate Sushi Glitch, then go around it. But if you try that, that's when you realize the true challenge of skipping this fight. If you look at the area, you might expect that the trigger for doing the fight would look something like this, but the trigger is actually dependent on your X coordinate. So instead of the trigger looking something like this, it looks something like this. Top to bottom, front to back, infinitely. Unless there's a way to teleport from behind here to here, there really isn't a way to skip him. Well, skip just him, that is. If you go back into Mount Lava Lava, you can do Peach Warp to skip Chapter 7 entirely. And as I said earlier, you fight him mid-chapter, so this is after he's fought. The only issue, we skipped all of Chapter 7, but the solution to this is really easy. Just walk to your right. Whenever you enter Crystal Palace for the first time, the game will update your story progress to Chapter 7, meaning that using Peach Warp, we completed Chapter 7, took a right, and now we're back in Chapter 7. This does skip a lot of the chapter, too much for me to be completely happy with this strategy, but at least it didn't skip the whole chapter, and you can still do Crystal Palace normally, so I'll let it slide. Chapter 8 though, there really isn't a way of skipping this other than a really lame method. None of the previous methods work. You can't do LZS stuff because the entrance to the room is a door. There's no blue pipe for Chapter 8, as much as I wish there was. So we can't unlock that blue pipe early. If you P-Torp in a Chapter 8 state, the game will be completely soft-locked. There's really nothing else we can do. Well, without Ace, that is. In 2021, a method for ACE, or Arbitrary Code Execution, was found. What does Arbitrary Code Execution mean? It means that we can do literally whatever we want. In any percent speedruns, this is used to skip to the end credits. Now, I don't really know anything about how ACE works, so I don't really know how possible it would be to skip to this room instead of the end of the game, or update your story progress to after this fight, though I can't imagine a reason why you couldn't. I would try this myself, but yeah, this is way above my skill level. Hell, there's only 3 verified any percent runs on the speedrun.com leaderboards. So technically, this run right here skipped the Chapter 8 Junior Troopa fight, but that's really lame to say considering how much of the game was skipped. But like I said, I'm sure there's some way to, instead of skipping here, to skip to Area 16, Room 2E, aka right after you fight Junior Troopa. Maybe even do Chapter 8 up to the Junior Troopa fight, then do Ace to the room after, so technically you did almost all of Chapter 8 anyways. I don't know. If someone who knows more about Ace than I do wants to try that out, that'd be really cool. But for now, the only method I can say for 100% certainty that skips this fight is by skipping a large amount of the game. Oh my god, a new Yoshimate video! Can't wait for the next one in a year. I swear I'm trying to make more videos. I'm gonna be trying really hard from now on to make videos more often like I did back in 2021. Hopefully I'll be able to do that, no promises. Another thing I feel like I should say is that most of the footage for this video was recorded on the Paper Mario practice ROM, which gives me easy LZS, inventory editing, and the ability to skip to any room and story progress I want. While you can do everything I mentioned in the vanilla US version, I just played the practice ROM to make getting footage a lot easier. And also, I don't have the capture card or HDMI adapter I talked about in my old Paper Mario videos. I bought my own so I can get clean Paper Mario footage again. So expect some more Paper Mario videos sometime. Anyways though, bye. Hi, Fox. Do you have something you want to say?